It sounds like your parents did a great job of sort of combining, you often get immigrant values when you immigrate to the U.S. with sort of the American culture blending into that. Can you talk a little bit more about that, about what kind of values you grew up with, and how do those translate into the values you want to leave for your children?
Sure. I feel really proud that I haven't had to change who I am to be successful in this role. Dan Rather was doing this series of interviews when I first became the CEO of a couple of women executives, and he went and interviewed families, parents, and so they went up and interviewed my parents. My mom cleaned the house. They were trying to serve him Chinese food, and they they do this huge thing for like hours and hours, and you know how, well, those of you who know media, I mean, they trunk it down to about a 20-second soundbite after interviewing for hours and hours and hours. With all of this, they take it down to one soundbite on television where he's asking my father, so did you always know that your daughter was going to be a successful CEO? And he says on public television, as a matter of fact, quite the opposite. We raised our kids as pretty traditional Chinese family values, and my perception of CEOs, really hardcore, cutthroat. I really can't imagine that she's going to actually be that successful. I'm thinking, this is public TV. So, but the truth is, in that thought, was the fear, I think, that my family values system had, that the concept of being kind, about caring about people, about being respectful, would get washed out of the window in a very, very, in his mind, typical behaviors required in the corner office. And have I had to change some things? Yes. I mean, I think I am much more assertive. I mean, kind of growing up in an Asian background, sort of avoid conflict around the dinner table is the thought, argue about things. And I have had to become more assertive and understand the role of constructive conflict. I don't think I'm aggressive. I don't think I've had to change my personality or who I am or my value system. So I think the best thing my parents would say about me, I hope, but they say it now and it makes me happy, is this, they say, well, she's really still the same person, even though, she's on some list someplace. And that's what I hope my children realize, is that those values are more important than anything else.
That's great.